It's Wellness Wednesday, and I hope you're well where you are. Today is 9/11 in Australia already, not quite in some other parts of the world just yet, but it will be soon. So, 9/11, my thoughts with people who lost loved ones on that tragic day, which is now 19 years ago, and that feels like a incredibly long time ago. 9/11, on 9/11 2001, I was in Beijing, and I watched all of the tragedy unfold on TV with some girls I was there working with. And then I just had a memory pop up on my Facebook page today. In 9/11 2008, I was also in Beijing, and I just finished working on the Olympics, and I have this little photo sitting up on my windowsill here in my study of some of the beautiful friends that I made and worked with, Susie, Joy, and Lydia, who are still very much a part of my life so many years on. So that's 12 years ago. So there was two Beijing memories I had today. What's also significant about this day for my family is that 2 years ago, on 9/11 2018, we went to the airport at Heathrow in London and got on the plane and waved bye-bye to 16 years of UK life to start our new life in Australia. So it's very different when you tell your family that you're going to the UK for 2 years, and 16 years goes by, and you come home with a shipping container full of stuff and two small people on either hip. So that was interesting, and it's been, I can't believe 2 years has gone by so quickly, but it has indeed. So that's interesting. And I'll share a bit more about that later, because it's week 4 of the Wheel of Wellbeing challenge, and this week it's all about connection, and connections are so important. But before I do that, I just want to do a shout out to fathers, because it was Father's Day on Sunday here in Australia, and I know that there are many dads that watch these lives both on my Wellness Poet page and on my Mindful Mums Queensland page. So shout out to the dads for Father's Day on Sunday. I hope you had a lovely day. I hope you spent some time with your family and had a chance to reflect on all that is good in your life, and know that you are loved and cared about. So well done to dads. I'm kind of having my week in two parts this week. So today feels like the start of the week, because I've had both children home Monday, Tuesday this week with differing illnesses, nothing serious, but one has an ear infection, the other one was sick at school, so I had to bring her home. But they're both back at school today, so my week has kind of started again. So whatever momentum I thought I would have generated by Wednesday had to completely be realigned and reassessed on Monday morning, when I knew I would have at least one child home. But then by Monday lunchtime I had two children at home, and then yesterday I had just one child at home who's potty training, toilet training. And there was a few accidents yesterday, one of which was on my yogurt mat, which she said, "Mummy, I've done a wee-wee on your yogurt mat." So I laughed a lot, because obviously it's a yoga mat. It's here on the floor all the time, and she's done a wee on it. So I had to clean that as well, which was interesting. But I have been doing focused bursts of effort with my work over the last 2 days, when there's an opportunity during meal times, rest times, etc. So that's been interesting. So with week 4 of the Wheel of Wellbeing challenge, the first 3 weeks are quite inward looking, and the remaining 3 weeks of the challenge are more outward looking. And I read some quite interesting and shocking facts, actually, which I'm going to share with you now, about the importance of connections and social connections. Now, I did know this, but when I read these two statements, I thought it worth sharing with you. The surprising finding is that our relationships and how happy we are in our relationships has a powerful influence over our health. So that says that our relationships can directly impact our health as well as our well-being. Well-being and health is very intrinsically and closely connected. So, knowing that, like, I certainly have felt that in my life, and it's important, I think, for people to understand that our relationships and how happy we are in our relationships has a very powerful influence over our health. The second one I read, which is, as a society and as individuals, we must urgently prioritize investing in building and maintaining good relationships and tackling barriers to forming them. Failing to do so is the equivalent to turning a blind eye to the impact of smoking and obesity on our health and well-being. So that's an equally frightening statement to read if you think about it, because if we don't urgently prioritize building and maintaining good relationships and tackling barriers to forming them, it's almost as detrimental to our health as smoking and obesity. And that's taken from the World Health Organization. So those were two statements that were like red lights for me. And I certainly know that those light bulbs came on when I was writing my book. And that's really why kind of step 9 is dedicated to this aspect of life. And step 9 of my book is called Socializing, but it's essentially about being and feeling connected. One aspect for me, having lived 16 years in the UK and then returned home as an adult with 2 small children, I spent most of my adult life abroad. I needed to start from scratch with my social connections. So, where the kids were going to go to school, what friendships do I have? Who did I know? Who did I not know? Working from home can be a little bit isolating sometimes because I'm not having that day-to-day interaction with people in the community. So how do I go about creating and forming healthy social connections for myself as well? So all of these questions went through my mind because, one of the reasons for moving back to Australia was to have a little bit more of a community around the children as they grew up, and to allow them to feel, that they were loved and cared for, and equally I had the love and care and support that I needed to be healthy as well. So that was, like a process of it all. So one of the things I was very keen to do was to find a very supportive and nurturing environment for the children, which I feel that I have done that. But then secondly, for myself, it was about, okay, well, how do I form social connections that are for me, that benefit me as a person and as a woman and as an individual? Because often what we tend to do is, if we haven't grown up in the environment that we're living, is many of our circles either form directly around our work environment or around our children's environment. And those two things are great because, a lot of my greatest friendships have come through my working environment and equally through having children. But I think in order to continue developing as well, and to we need social circles that are built just around us and our needs. So how do we go about finding that's not driven by our professional success or driven by our parental success? It's driven by our need for self-actualization. And it struck me this morning as I was driving back from taking the kids to school that it falls very much into Maslow's hierarchy of human needs, which is something I learned about in probably high school or university. I can't remember which, actually. It's a long time ago. So I've just copied this one for you to see, Maslow's hierarchy of human needs, and I'll paste it in the comments box below. Just bear with me a second, sorry. But what it says is, with Maslow's hierarchy of human needs, on the bottom rung of the pyramid, we have our physiological needs. And here it's air, water, food, shelter, sleep, clothing, and reproduction. Then we have our safety needs on the next rung above, which is personal security, employment, resources, health, and property. So generally on a day-to-day level, we're probably doing pretty well with most of those. The rung above, love and belonging, friendship, intimacy, family, sense of connection. Well, that's been tested a lot this year during COVID. And, having to social distance has been a huge barrier to forming and fostering strong, healthy social connections. On the next level above, we talk about esteem, which is respect, self-esteem, status, recognition, strength, and freedom. On the very top rung, this is really important. It talks about self-actualization, so desire to become the most that one can be. And sometimes it's only through reflection and through very strong, healthy social connections are we able to realize self-actualization. But unless all of these are in alignment and we have strength in each aspect of the pyramid, the opportunity for self-actualization decreases a lot. And this is kind of the growth area, and if these ones are not fulfilled, we can't move up into our growth area. So I think it's really important to acknowledge that, because one other shocking thing I heard on the radio the other day, by I think the CEO of Australian Psychology Institute, said that there will not be enough trained psychologists by 2022 to cope with the post-pandemic fallout and the number of recognized health problems around mental health and well-being. So that's frightening, because what it says is, like, the system can't turn out enough psychologists to kind of help people move through some of these stumbling blocks so that we can be living in a space that's up here. I think a lot of us put a lot of effort into our physiological needs and our safety needs in terms of air, water, food, shelter, employment, and property. But many of us, in terms of health, intimacy, sense of connection and belonging and esteem, well, that's where we start to struggle sometimes in our busy and hectic life, especially when especially when we're juggling the load of being very busy working parents. So I just wanted to share that. It's very interesting, and it's good to be mindful of that. It's also equally good to be mindful of the two statements that I read out to you at the beginning, which is that the level of happiness we experience in our relationships directly impact our health. And as a society, if we don't prioritize urgently investing, building and maintaining good relationships and tackling barriers to form them, we're turning a blind eye to the impact of them, similar to smoking and obesity. So that's super, super important to remember. So when I said about writing step 9 for my book, which was socializing, I wanted to share some tips and insights into how I approach socializing and building healthy social engagements through connections that were just for me, to enable me to achieve self-actualization as well as that sense of belonging. And I'm going to share with you now the top 10, my top 10 tips here, which is on page 122. So how do you go about finding social engagements that are right for you? But just before I do that, I just want to show you this graphic, which is on page 124. It talks about social anxiety, and it says, the graphic says, I don't hate you, I have social anxiety. And here it says, I constantly worry what other people may be thinking of me. Now, in the past, you might have encountered people who are shy, who are, not good communicators, who shy away from social activities, etc. So those people could be suffering from social anxiety. And when we're aware of that, we cannot feel that they may be rude to us, maybe dislike us. It's that they're battling with their own challenges around social anxiety. And you only have to Google social anxiety to really understand it. But essentially it's the fear and anxiety of being negatively judged and evaluated by other people. It's a pervasive disorder and causes anxiety and fear in most areas of a person's life. If you suffer from social anxiety, then of course I encourage you to seek some professional help to overcome your worries and fears. If you are in a rut, new to an area, or bored with the same talk and people, then seeking new social encounters will open up your life again. So moving from one side of the world to another certainly does open up your life to form some new social encounters. So how do you go about finding social engagements that are right for you? Number 1, write down in your journal what inspires you. Number 2, write down who inspires you. Number 3, write down what and who you find motivating. Number 4, write down who and where you can help others. Number 5, set an intention to find opportunities to be social and then be open to whatever presents itself. Number 6, ignore doubts, criticisms, fears, and other people's opinions of what you should be doing. Number 7, go out and try new groups. Be welcoming, friendly, kind, and non-judgmental to others. Number 8, share your experiences and vulnerabilities when you feel safe to do so. Number 9, leave your ego at home. And number 10, leave people with a feeling of increase after you've gone home. So what does leaving people with a feeling of increase means? It means that people feel as though you have had a positive impact on them personally, socially, professionally, and that because they spent time with you, their soul feels bigger. You lifted them up, increased their well-being and their spirit. So that's my top 10 tips for finding and building social engagements that are right for you, and trying to go about your day leaving people with a feeling of increase because you have lifted them up. I hope you found that useful. So that's a little bit about week 4 of the Wheel of Wellbeing Challenge, which I'm finding immensely valuable for myself to kind of reaffirm what I do know, remind me of things that I had forgotten, and to kind of, look at other people's videos and work around this context. I found an amazing resource yesterday, which is listed in the resource section. It's an institute in California which focuses on well-being. It's the science of well-being. So I've shared with them my book, and they all said that they'll look to include it as a resource on their website, so that would be amazing. So that's very special. So this Sunday I'm in Charters Towers. I'm doing a women's wellness reset workshop on Sunday morning. So I'm looking forward to going back to my hometown and spending time with my family, as well as running a wellness workshop. And it's on the 31st of August, the nominations closed for Australian Business Book of the Year. So my book's been nominated in 3 categories, which is wonderful. So it's been nominated in health and wellbeing, personal development, and audiobook. So I'm super excited about that, the opportunity to have my book judged by really esteemed people in terms of literature, as well as those areas of personal development, well-being, and that the announcement of the books that win will be in November, so that's something exciting to look forward to. And I feel privileged to have the opportunity to have my book showcased in that way, so that's wonderful. So thanks so much for watching today. I hope you're well where you are. If you haven't had a chance to check out the Wheel of Wellbeing Challenge yet on Mentally Healthy City Townsville website, I encourage you to do that because it is free. It is simple to follow. It will inspire you and it will help guide you on your way. And equally, it supports what I've talked about in the book. So I'm going to leave you today with a poem from step 9 of the book, and it's called I Am Connected. I am connected. I'm joining the dots and crossing my T's, staring intently at flowers and trees. I hear the pitter-patter of little feet, the rhythmic sound of my own heartbeat. I'm riding my storm, acceptance and gratitude the norm. I feel it, I see it, I don't overthink it. I feel the connections and I link it. My intuition guides me, while intentions shoot out like roots of a tree. A little at first, then totally unpresuming. Something inside me has started blooming. In the moment, I see it's not perfect, but there's no defect. I'm not seeking perfection. I'm seeking calm and quiet reflection. My mind and body are not dejected as I become more fully connected. I'm soaring, the possibilities are endless. I've got the tools and keys for success. Sit back and enjoy my progress. So that's my poem, I'm Connected. It's on page 130 of the book. Thank you so much for watching today and your support. I'm wishing you a beautiful day and a great rest of the week, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. I'm Chrissy Regan. Take care. Bye.